Hey everyone, welcome to the Build Young, Grow Wealthy podcast. My name is Walida Cherie. In today's podcast episode, we will explore the 5 most common types of budgeting to see which one works best for you. Without further ado, let's get into this. So let's help one of our listeners out here solve a problem. And it says, recently, my wife and I decided to start saving and spending our money wisely. To start, we want to make a reasonable budget. The only issue is that we can't find a suitable method, site, or app to help us. It seems like most budgeting apps have too many features, and we don't care about linking our account or having everything sync across devices. We just want to sit down for about 15 to 20 minutes a day, see where our income needs to go, and log any purchases across our accounts to prepare us for future expenses better. I know manually logging will take time, but we both think it'll be good for us to look at our money and see where we are spending it. Do you have any suggestions on which budget method might be helpful for us? Any help is appreciated, the Coopers. So let's start with number one, the 50-30-20 rule. The purpose of the 50-30-20 budget is to ensure that you pay for your necessities and prioritize your long term savings goals. This method was created by senior U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who practiced as an expert in bankruptcy law. To give an overview of this budget style, 50% of your after tax dollars goes to necessities, so this is what you can't live without. 30% goes towards wants. These are things you can live without, but you might not want to. And then 20% goes towards savings and debt reduction. Examples of needs are anything that you need, such as food, water, shelter, utilities, insurance. And this is just to name a few, but these are the most important things. Now let's take a look at the 30%, which represents wants. And here are a few examples. So this could be subscriptions, entertainment, eating out, grooming such as getting hair, nails, massages, etc. on a monthly basis. It's also anything else that isn't necessary for your survival. Finally, let's look at the last category, which is the 20% of income, which is for savings and debt repayment. This category is super important because most people focus on their needs and wants and oftentimes forget to plan for their future. This category makes sure you are contributing towards it every month. And examples could be contributing towards a retirement plan, putting money aside into an emergency savings fund, and also, most importantly, paying down your debt. But believe it or not, the longer you keep your debt around, the harder it'll be to make any real movements towards your savings goals. This is because most debts carry high interest rates, which is why it's important to tackle this part of your budget every month. So, what are the advantages of the 50-30-20 budget? Simplicity is what this budget offers, also flexibility, and it also encourages you to save. And like I said, it helps with debt repayment. The disadvantages is that it may not work for everyone. So, you may want to see if this is something you want to do by giving it about 30 days. See if it's something you like, and if it's not, toss it. This method doesn't account for individual circumstances, but it's easy to track because you aren't itemizing anything, which may make this method great for beginners. So there you have it. The 50-30-20 budget can be an excellent way to balance your spending and savings goals. It's simple, flexible, and it encourages you to save more and pay off your debt. However, keep in mind that this method may not work for everyone, and you might need to tweak it according to your individual circumstances. But if you're just starting with budgeting and want something that's easy to understand and implement, then the 50-30-20 budget can be an excellent choice. Now let's look at number two, which is zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting method is a budgeting technique that prioritizes expenses based on their importance. This method assigns every dollar to a specific job or expense, leaving no room for wasteful spending. You have probably heard financial guru Dave Ramsey rave about this method. The zero-based budgeting was first introduced in the 1970s by Peter Pyre. And sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but it's Pyrr, Pyre. It's probably the best pronunciation. And this man was an accountant at Texas Instruments. The company was looking for a way to reduce costs and increase efficiency. Pyre developed the ZBB method, also known as zero based budgeting method, which eventually became popular in the business world. The zero based budgeting process can be broken down in 5 simple steps. Number one, identify your income. Number two, categorize your expenses. Number three, prioritize your expenses. Number four, allocate your income. And number five, track your spending. The advantages of the zero based budgeting method is that it helps to prioritize expenses, it eliminates wasteful spending, it promotes accountability, and it encourages savings. The disadvantage is that it's time consuming because you are going to double check and triple check where every dollar is going. So it is going to be time consuming. It requires discipline because something like this that takes time will need time for you to make it a habit. And like I said, with any budgeting style, this one may not work for everyone. By prioritizing expenses, eliminating wasteful spending, and promoting accountability and encouraging savings, you can achieve your financial goals. Consider giving it a try and see how it works for you. Next, we're going to talk about number three, which is cash envelope budgeting method. And I know you're probably like, wait 1 second. We are moving into a cashless society. Why is this still on the list? Well, until we are, you can still use this method. The way this technique works is that you would put cash into any category that you would typically pay debit or credit for, and you would put that money inside of an envelope. And once that money was gone, that was it until the next month. Categories that people typically use to put cash in envelopes were groceries, gas, entertainment, and clothes. What is an alternative method that I suggest? Well, to keep this method somewhat alive, I suggest for places that are still accepting cash that you frequently buy from, like grocery stores and gas stations, put that money in an envelope. But if for some reason between now and later their policy changes, buy a rechargeable Visa gift card for each category and load the amount you want to spend each month to each card. Just make sure you label the card or get different colors and you know which color goes where so you are aware of where you need to spend that card. If you are a person who lacks discipline and can easily overspend, then the cash method might be suitable for you. Now, you also want to check your balances, and with those card methods, they usually have a number or a website you can visit to check the balances. So you also have to be disciplined enough to check that. So, here are the advantages of the cash envelope method. It helps to limit overspending since you have a limited amount of cash in each envelope or gift card. You are forced to be mindful of your spending and stick to your budget. So, there's no extra dollar over. You either have it or you don't have it. This is also great for those who prefer a visual aid. Seeing the actual cash in the envelope can help make it easier to stay on track. Another method is that it reduces the risk of overspending on credit cards or debit cards. So, if you're using cash or a gift card instead of credit or debit cards, this can reduce your temptation to overspend, which could get you either maxed out with a credit card or overdraft with a debit card. The disadvantages is that it's not ideal for online purchases, and this is if you do the cash only method. Since most online purchases require a debit or credit card, it can be difficult to use the cash envelope method for online shopping. Another disadvantage is that it can be inconvenient. Having to carry cash around and having to make frequent trips to the bank or ATM to withdraw cash can be an inconvenience. It's also not suitable for those who are prone to losing things. So, if you are someone who easily misplaces things, this method may not be suitable for you, as you can end up losing your cash envelopes or gift cards and thereby your budgeting plan. Overall, the cash envelope budgeting method can be a great option for some people, but it may not work for everyone depending on your lifestyle and your spending habits. Next, we're going to go to number four, which is pay yourself first budgeting method. The pay yourself first budgeting method is a simple yet powerful budgeting technique that prioritizes savings a portion of your income first before paying for any other expenses. So, this is the flip version of the 50/30/20 method because you're putting savings before wants and needs. This method comes from George S. Clason, who is the author of the time tested book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Instead of using the advice in the book, which only suggests you save 10% of your income, I'm going to suggest a minimum of 15% to keep up with inflation as well as reach your savings goals in a timely manner. However, this doesn't mean that you can't save more. For instance, if you're single, if you prefer to live a modest lifestyle with no debt, you can probably afford to save a minimum of 30% of your income. But if you are a family of five, then 15% may be a real sacrifice to ensure you stay on track with your future goals, but it'll all be worth it. Don't get discouraged. Start small if you have to. These numbers are estimates, not absolutes. If you can only start with 5%, then start there and work on increasing that number by the next quarter to at least 7%. Any number is better than 0%, so just keep that in mind. So let's talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of the pay yourself first budgeting method. The advantages is that it helps to build a strong savings habit. It also ensures that you always have some savings. The disadvantages is that it may not work for everyone, and it also requires discipline to stick to the plan. I recommend you try this method 30 to 60 days. If it's not your thing, either do this in addition to one of the other methods or just stop using this method altogether. Finally, we have arrived to our last budgeting method, which is the budget by paycheck method. This method is all about organizing your bills by due dates, no matter if you get paid bi monthly or monthly. This method helps to manage your money more efficiently by focusing on your expenses and income on a per paycheck basis. I think it's best to organize your bills from the 1st through the 15th and then the 16th through the 30th, or whatever the end of the month is for that month. This way, you know what's coming out on which day. With the budget by paycheck method, you will be creating a budget for each paycheck you receive. This method involves dividing your expenses into two categories: fixed and variable expenses. Fixed expenses include bills and other expenses that remain the same every month, while variable expenses include things like groceries, entertainment, and other expenses that can vary from month to month. Now, the advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is that it helps you to manage your money more efficiently, allows you to focus on expenses and income on a per paycheck basis, and it helps you stay on track with your budget. The disadvantage is that it may require more effort and time to create a budget for each paycheck, and it may not be suitable for people with irregular income. This method worked well for me when I worked as both a salary and an hourly worker. Let's say I had a bill due on the 20th and it was the 1st. For some reason, I didn't have the money in my account on the 1st. That gave me enough time to either work some extra hours or do a side hustle to make sure I had the money in my account in time. With that said, you can't budget your way out of not making enough money. If this is you, be sure to subscribe to get notified when I create content around making money. If you like this episode and want more in depth tools and tips about budgeting, check out today's sponsor. Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Do you want to learn how to manage your finances on any income? Then you need to check out my book, How to Budget on Any Income by me, Walida Cherie. In this book, you'll discover practical tips and strategies for budgeting no matter how much money you make. Whether you're a college student, a busy professional, or an entrepreneur, this book has something for everyone. So what are you waiting for? Head over to my description box and get your copy of How to Budget on Any Income today. Your wallet and your future self will thank you. So which budget method do you think is best for the Coopers, the couple who posed the question at the beginning? Should they use the 50/30/20 method, zero-based budgeting method, cash envelope method, pay yourself method, or the budget by paycheck method. Be sure to cast your vote. That's all I have for today. Be sure to tune in for the next episode. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so and share this episode with a friend. Also, leave me a review so I'll know how I'm doing and also to boost us up the algorithm if you're my real friend. Until next time, I will talk to you later.